Welcome to On the Bauble podcast episode 14. I'm your host, Subasa J. Ueda, and with me is my co-host, Yuki Lee Bender. Today's episode, we're going to go through all the spoiler cards that are currently out, but we are recording this on October 31st. Happy Halloween, everyone. So not all the spoiler cards are out, and actually our spoiler card's not even out yet, but by the time this video comes out, it would be. But before we go into spoilers, how's your week been, Yuki?
My week's been pretty good. I had a really productive weekend in terms of testing. Got quite a few games in and feel like I had some pretty big breakthroughs in certain matchups. And I think I'm pretty much like locked on my decks at this point, and I feel pretty good about them, honestly. Like it's nothing exciting or groundbreaking, but I like my spot in the metagame, and yeah, I think it's pretty good.
You know, do you want to reveal what deck you want to play, or you want to keep that a secret?
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna play Icelander. It's I think the deck's very good. I think that there is an argument that like Fi and Oldhim are also very good, and I think there's fine arguments to play them. But ultimately, like Icelander is just solid into basically every deck and has like either favored to like at worst like 40% in every matchup. So it feels like a pretty solid, like very well-rounded deck, I would say.
That's for CC or for Blitz?
Both formats actually.
So you could play, what is it, 16 rounds of Icelander? Oh wait, plus 3 rounds of top 8, so 19 rounds of Icelander in this format?
It's possible. It's theoretically possible. I think she's just a really solid deck in both formats. I think that there's like definitely decks that can beat her, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Every deck has at least some bad matchups, so.
Yeah, that seems fair. Okay, let's just move on straight into our spoiler cards. There, we have a bunch of cards. Obviously, we're still missing the September 1st cards, but I think there's more than enough cards to talk about, honestly.
Yeah.
What do you want to start with?
Well, why don't we start with the Assassin? Because at this point, pretty much all the cards we have are Assassin cards, and we might have like one or two others. But I think it makes sense to start there, that we can talk about the other kind of random cards here and there.
Yeah, that sounds good. So the Assassin hero that got spoiled, it is an adult hero, so it does have 40 life. Its name is I'm gonna butcher this name. Arakni Huntsman. Do you think that's right?
I think it's Arakni. Because I think he's supposed to be like, oh god, the flavor text on Vipox is like signed by Spider, and this guy is like the same guy in Vipox. I don't know why, but he's like somehow nicknamed Spider or something, and then it's like Arachnid. That's how I read it.
Oh, okay.
Very LSS name. Very LSS name, I have to say.
Arakni Huntsman. Okay.
Yes.
So let's I'm just gonna read out his text. So he reads, whenever you play a card with Contract, you may look at the top card of target opponent's deck. You may put it on the bottom. What is Contract, Yuki?
So Contract is a keyword on, I think, basically all of the Assassin attack actions. And essentially what Contract does is it gives you, it basically says if you banish a certain type of card, like a blue card, a red card, a yellow card, whatever, then you get a silver token. And what I have heard, although I don't know if this is like confirmed, but what I've heard is that they stay open for the entire combat chain. So if the first attack doesn't hit, but you are able to give it a go again, or like maybe you don't banish, but you're able to give it a go again, then the next attack hits and you successfully banish the previous ones, then it still works.
Yeah, I think that's what I heard somewhere too. I don't remember where I saw it though. But yeah, I think as long as the combat chain is open and the card is face up on the in the arena, then the contract is still live. Let's go into one of the attacks, I guess. Let's give an example of an attack. What about Slay the Scholars? So Slay the Scholar is a red 0 cost that attacks for 4, blocks for 3. It's an assassin action attack card, and it says Contract. You are contracted to banish opponent's non-attack action cards. Whenever you complete this contract, create a silver token. And then on a separate line, it says, when this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. So it looks like a lot of the assassin cards actually fulfill its own contract. So you don't actually need like another card to fulfill the contract. Like the card, as long as it hits, will banish the top card. And then you have like a chance to basically get an on hit, essentially. What do you think about this mechanic?
I think it's fine. I think the silver tokens are decently strong. I think this deck's going to want quite a few blues. and because of that, like being able to cycle your hand seems decent. Also, you can use silver for other stuff, like cash in comes to mind. So you have like a pretty powerful draw two in the deck, and some of the equipment also cares about silver. So there's lots of outlets for silver, and I think it's like a decent on hit. It's not draw a card anywhere close, but it is some like it's worth like a point or two here.
Like, let's compare it to like Ash and Dromai. Do you think it's gonna be more impactful than Ash and Dromai, or do you think it's gonna be like slightly less impactful, like throughout the game? Let's say in CC, because Arachni. What is his name?
I think it's Arakni.
Arachni. Arachni's gonna be CC focused. So,
Yeah,
do you think it's gonna be like Dromai, where like they're not gonna make that many Ash? It's gonna be like two or three all the time, and then they're gonna try and take advantage of like very minimal Ash generation, or do you think this is gonna be like I want to make like 14 silvers and pop off?
that is a great question that I don't have the answer to. I think you probably want to just cash in small amounts, like because your boots. The biggest thing that makes you probably not want to just pop off is that your boots. I guess we can talk about them, but they're a once per turn effect to get go again, and so I don't think you can actually, if you're playing a lot of assassin cards, if you have other cards like maybe you can play Rabble and stuff to help use your hand, but if you're playing assassin cards, you don't like really have inherent go again at all, so you're kind of limited.
You wanna just go into the assassin leg piece?
Yeah, why don't we? We can actually just do. I think all of the equipment is pretty relevant. Okay, so Black Tech Whispers is the legendary assassin legs. Has one defense on it, and it reads: While Black Tech Whispers is in your graveyard, at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silvers you control. If you do, you equip it, so you basically just get it back. It has an attack reaction as well that says destroy Black Tech Whispers. Target assassin attack action gains. When this hits a hero, it gains go again. So it's snaps, I guess. It snaps that blocks one with Battle Worn, and then you can pay 2 silvers to get it back, which I think is really strong.
Oh, and has battle sworn too.
Yeah, I think this equipment is quite powerful.
Oh, I thought this girl was Blade Break when I first read it.
Mm-mm. No, you get a life and a go again every time. So it's like, this is pretty good.
Wow. I guess there's like a merit to like using the attack reaction to destroy this card, even though you know it's not gonna hit.
Technically, if you just want to convert it into armor, I feel like the sweet spot for assassin might be if you can like attack with a thing, give it go again, attack with another thing, and then if those both hit, you like probably get 2 silver back, and then you get to buy this thing back, essentially like gain a armor block, and then have the attack reaction to do the same thing again. So I think you have like a little bit of an engine there. Unsure of how strong that is.
Yeah, it's a little hard to make sure it hits.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the mask. I'll do this one. It's called a mask. I can't pronounce these words. Mask of Perdition. I think that's how
You
it's
got
word.
it. Yeah.
While Mask of Perdition is in your graveyard, at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silvers you control. If you do, equip Mask of Perdition. It's exactly the same as the leg piece. So they come back for 2 silvers. And attack reaction. It says destroy Mask of Perdition. Target assassin attack action card gains when this hits a hero. Banish the top card of their deck. And it also has Battle Sworn. Oh, this card also has Battle Sworn. I missed this too. Wow.
Yeah, so this deck is quite tanky, and it's going to kind of, I think, cycle the mask when it's trying to build up silver, and then it will spend it on the boots, and then next turn you hopefully you're able to just keep that loop going. I think if you can, that's sort of like the sweet spot for assassin.
Is there a way to generate silver outside of assassin cards right now?
I know that pick a card works. It's not great. I think there's also, is it High Striker? Oh, maybe that makes. Let's
High
see.
Striker.
I'm gonna look it up.
I haven't seen High Striker in a while.
No, sorry. High Striker makes coppers. Yeah, I don't think there's that many ways. Actually, let's see. Silver. Yeah, not really. It's just pick a card, which is not. I don't really think where you want to be.
So I guess for now we're not gonna have that many assassin or free ways to make silver. More ways to use silver, honestly.
Yeah, I think the best of the bunch being cash in 2 silvers. It's an action, costs 4, but if you destroy 4 copper, 2 silvers, or 1 gold, it's free, and it draws 2 and has go again. So if you have 2 silvers, you can just cash it in for 2 cards. And considering it's like a yellow block 2 as well, I think cash in's like a pretty real payoff.
Yeah, it's really good. And it's just also a yellow card, and this card blocks. Yeah, this card's sweet.
You can maybe friend of the pod and local Eric Lehrer was mentioning that Knickknack for time snap potions might be pretty good, because then you can go Knickknack, get like 2 time snaps, and then you have a bunch of go again for all your actions, and can maybe have a buff off that turn that way. If you play Knickknack, it costs 3. You can play it, and it says you can destroy 4 copper, 2 silver, or 1 gold to search your deck for an amulet, potion, or talisman, essentially. So you could play this, pop 4 silver, get 2 time snaps potions, and then like on your next turn you can go off, kind of thing.
Oh wait. Oh, okay. It's for each 2 silver. So when you play Knickknack and pitch a blue, you get a potion even if you don't destroy any
Yes,
silver.
that's right.
But then for every 2 more, you get more of them. Ah, okay.
Yeah. So if you do like 2 silver, you'd get two time snaps.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if it's good, but it's interesting.
So yeah, it's the silver, and then we should probably talk about Arakni's weapons as well.
Oh yeah, isn't Arakni's weapon pretty? I'll go into it. Spider's Bite is the assassin weapon right now. It is a one-handed dagger, and it reads once per turn action, costs 2 resources, attack, go again, and it only attacks for 1. But it does have piercing 1, and that's a new keyword. It says if this is defended by an equipment, it has +1. And when this hits a hero, the next time they defend with 1 or more attack action cards this turn, those cards have -1 while defending.
You can swing this to, like, obviously your opponent's never going to want to block it. You can swing this, and then you devalue their attack action card's defense, and you can swing an attack afterwards. Like, you could do like 1 for 5 or something. If you have Tunic, you could do Dagger, 4 for 0. So I think those are like kind of the play patterns that you'll get with Spider's Bite. Again, I'm not sure how good that is, just because like if you do like one dagger plus a 5, that's just 6 damage for 2 cards, which is honestly probably below rate for CC. Like it's technically on the like three points per card, but in CC you want to be doing better than that. So if the main gameplay loop is doing that, it seems not great. So it's a matter of like how many extra points like can you get out of your armor cycling and all the other stuff that you get from the silver, and that's kind of what's not clear.
Well, the Spider's Bite has an on hit, right? It's somewhat relevant. So it's like a little bit better than like 2 for 6. So it's like,
well, I just mean in terms of like raw damage. Like if you're playing like an aggro deck that doesn't necessarily want to block you,
yeah, then you get silver tokens, right? So like if there's
I suppose.
like a mini relevant on hit, because every assassin card has an on hit, at least the ones we've seen so far.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, so I think decent weapons. I imagine this will definitely be a Tunic deck, just because the blue dagger with the Tunic counter and then 4 for 0 just seems really, really strong. There's some very, very good play patterns with that we can get into.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's next? What do you want to talk about next on this hero?
There's a lot of these kind of just generic cards that like the one that we read off that are just either 4 for 0 or 5 for 1 in red as a 3 block. They essentially don't do anything except have contract for a certain type of card, and then on hit banish the top card. So I imagine you're going to be playing these most turns, and then that's how you're going to be generating silver, and then you get to use your silver for shenanigans like giving these go again and joining them together or anything. So they're like solidly on rate, 4 for 3. It's fine, quite solid, but that's kind of it. They're not exciting, and there's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, I didn't even see this card. What is this card? Payday. So this is assassin action. It's not even an attack. Payday costs 0 and it blocks for 3 and it's a blue pitch. And it says if you completed a contract this turn, create 4 silver tokens.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Payday. You do have to have an action point to be able to do this, but I guess.
Whoa, but your boots.
Yeah, I guess your boots. This will fuel your boots for a while afterwards, so you're pretty happy to break your boots to play this.
Yeah, because like if you hit with your attack, you on your attack reaction break your boots. It hits, you complete your contract most likely, and then you get to play Payday, make 5 silver. You spend 2 next turn to get your boots back. That's not bad. You get 3 silver at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
But you know the thing with all of these cards are they're so cute. Like they don't do much.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not even guaranteed to get the silver. If they do hit, they don't have inherent go again. Like they're on rate, but it's just not particularly exciting. And it really like I think this hero really revolves around like how valuable is that silver and how much value are you generating from your equipment. Or like the cash ins and like your other silver payoffs, of course.
Okay, I think we talked about Arakni enough. Is there any other cards you want? Oh, actually, there's one
No,
cool card.
there's a few cards we should definitely be talking about.
Okay, there's one card I want to talk about Arakni, which is Regicide. This card is man. I saw that when this card got first spoiled. I was like got super excited for this hero, and then I was a lot less excited for it after I saw all the other cards. But Regicide is the blue 0 cost 3 block. It is a legendary Arakni specialization. And it says, when this hits a royal hero, they lose the game. And then it says, when this combat chain closes, you lose the game. Regicide can't be defended by cards the same name as cards in the defending hero's banish zone. So this card, you definitely play this card in every matchup, I think. This is just gonna be your like typical. You pitch this card like 3 times, and then on your third or fourth cycle, you just use this card to kill your opponent because they can't block with any cards. I think that's just like gonna be like a common play pattern with this deck. But man, when the combat chain closes, you lose the game. If your opponent plays like a red sigil, you lose the game. Oh my god.
Yeah, definitely high risk, high reward. And then it's also only good against Royal, so
Well, it's still good against every other hero too. It's just a blue pitch that gets cycled through your deck, and then at the very end of the game is like your last attack, the unblockable 3, right?
yeah. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, you play it. You play it.
Yeah. I think there's probably a couple other cards that we should also talk about. Just some of the Majestics are quite good. In particular, Leave No Witnesses is pretty strong. It's a 0 for 4 that blocks 3. It comes in red, and it's an assassin attack action. That's Majestic. The contract for it is you are contracted to banish opponent's red cards. Whenever you do complete it, make a silver. So red's pretty good type. And when it hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck and up to 1 card in their arsenal. So this is essentially like a CNC effect that also can fulfill contract. And it's totally on rate as it's like a wounded bull that also has a CNC text and also fuels your hero's ability. So I think this card's very good. And some of the play patterns of like if you have your tunic, you go like dagger, play this, your attacks have -2. Pretty strong.
Yeah, that is pretty strong. Honestly, like the card in your opponent's opponent's arsenal are like most likely red anyways. So like when you get to rip a arsenal from with this card, you have a high chance of like completing your contract right away anyways. This card is like designed very well, I think.
I think so as well. I guess like so yeah, I think this is like one of the best assassin cards, probably the most like solid on its own. There are a couple others to talk about. Eradicate is also Majestic. It's a yellow pitch, 1 cost, attacks for 4, blocks for 3, so on rate, but usually you don't play these 4-for-1s in yellow. But it says you are contracted to banish opponent's yellow cards, not a great type. Whenever you complete this contract, create a silver token. However, it has when this hits a hero, banish the top X cards of their deck where X is the damage dealt by Eradicate. So potentially you can banish the top 4 cards of their deck and get a bunch of tries at that contract. So and 4 cards off their deck is like a pretty big push towards fatigue, which I think is probably something this deck can do as well. Just like run you out of cards, even though it's not necessarily doing it purely through blocking. Like it's also actively thinning your deck the whole time.
So do you think this is like gonna be like a mill strategy fatigue out deck, or do you think it's gonna be like more proactive and like trying to push damage?
I think it's going to be pretty defensive and try to get value out of the repetitive armor blocks. All the cards block for 3, so the deck blocks really well, and the deck can't really utilize big hands very well either. You can get go again once from the boots, and that's about it. But that's like a 2 or 3 card hand, so you're naturally wanting to block with like 1 to 2 cards. I think pretty regularly, honestly. So I could see something just like block with 3 cards, 4 for 0. You probably get a silver and just kind of like do that gradually and cycle your equipment. And then you're also like milling them out of their deck at the same time. And then, yeah, we've been on Assassin for quite a while, but we should probably mention the attack reactions also.
The common one?
There's two. They basically have a 0 cost 3 block red that gives a target card defending an attack action gets -4 this combat chain. It does work on -4 defense, so it does work on equipment as well. So just being able to like punch through like a sink below with this card for a 0 is really good. It's not actually pushing damage, but if they're trying to block you, it's going to be very effective at getting your attack through and effectively dealing damage.
Yeah, and the common one is target assassin attack action card with contract gains +3. And then it says look at the top card of your depending hero's deck, and you may put it to the bottom. Honestly, that second line of text is probably not that relevant, but being able to push, like this will essentially guarantee you to hit on your attack unless they have a D-react, pretty consistent on pushing damage. And I actually like these cards because it still just blocks for 3.
Yeah, they're both just way above rate, like 0 cost 3 block attack reactions, and one of them is a +3 and one of them's like essentially a +4 if it's a matchup where they want to block is like crazy. Like you think like lightning press is a very good attack reaction because it's 0 cost +3, but it doesn't even block. So these cards are really good.
Yeah. The attack reactions in Assassin is really strong. It's probably the best reason to be playing Assassin.
Yeah, I think so. So it's going to be interesting to see how effective this deck is at sort of like playing a value game and milling people out. I think it's a cool design. I don't know how strong it is.
Yeah, we'll have to see once this actually comes out. Let's move on from Assassin. Let's talk about the equipments in the set. There's like a bunch of equipments that got spoiled very early in the set, in the spoiler season. Let's start with the bow because that's has to do with our spoiler card too.
Yeah, why don't we talk about the bow and then our spoiler? I think that's a good idea.
So Sandscour Great Bow is a ranger weapon bow, two-handed weapon. Once per turn action, it's 1 resource. Look at the top card of your deck. You may put an arrow from your hand or the top of your deck face up into your arsenal. Go again. And it has a second line of text. It is a passive. Whenever an arrow is put face up in arsenal from your deck, put an aim counter on it.
So Sandscour Great Bow is, I think, a fairly solid bow. Having the extra consistency of being able to look off the top of card of your deck to see if you get an arrow is actually pretty nice. Because sometimes you just miss on arrows, and just like getting 1 extra card every turn is pretty good. I think this bow is clearly aimed towards Azalea because she wants to play the Skullbone Crosswrap, which allows her to opt the top card every time. So that gives you more card selection with Sandscour Great Bow and turns it closer to draw a card. Also, the putting an arrow face up in arsenal from your deck is Azalea's hero ability, whereas Lexi doesn't really have a way to do that. There are a few cards that we can talk about that can turn this on as well. Having it on the hero is obviously just so much more accessible. So I think this is very clearly for Azalea.
Definitely is pushing Azalea a little bit more to a stronger hero. And I think the aim counter portion will have to do with a lot of the cards in Dynasty, or at least the Ranger cards. And I'm going to assume this is a design space that pushed Ranger cards a little bit stronger. Like as we can see with our spoiler card, Deadeye. That card is way above rate, right? Because
yeah, so for anyone who hasn't seen the video, Deadeye's a yellow 1 cost that blocks for 3. And it has the text, your next arrow attack gets +3. And the arrow gains, if it has an aim counter, the arrow gains on hit, your opponent reveals a hand and you make them discard, banish, one of the two.
Oh, are you going off the top of your head?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's sick.
So
yeah, so you get to, they discard the card. It doesn't get banished.
So gives us a little bit of insight to aim counters. Like we don't know if they do anything inherently on their own at the time of recording. And of course we say that, and by the time this comes out and you listen to it, you'll probably know what aim counters are, but they might do something on their own. Like, I don't know, are they naturally a +1 and then you get other bonuses from some of the cards? What other payoffs are there? That we don't know, but this is a very good payoff. The on hit choose a card and discard is worth so much, and you get the +3 as well, which is perfectly on rate, and because it blocks 3, it's actually like 1 above. Like if you compare it to Overpower, It's also a 1 for 3 in yellow. It gives +3, but it only blocks for 2. So it's like above rate, and then it also has the potential for this very, very powerful on hit that's worth, I think, more than a card, actually.
Yeah, because you get to choose and pick like which card you get to rip. Like you really get to decimate their hand. Like sometimes you play an aggro deck like Fi and you draw two one costs and a blue. If the ranger player gets to rip your blue, like your hand just doesn't. Your hand is very below rate. Like all your cards block for 2. You can't even attack with like 3/3/3. It's just like your hand can get so bad that like that whole turn you're gonna be attacking for like 7, and then the ranger player gets like hit back at you for like 11 and or like sorry, ranger is 5 + 3 + 3. Yeah, so it's 11. Yeah, so if they have 2 buffs and an arrow, they just get to hit you back for 11 with disruption again. It could really cripple you.
I think it's good against decks like Guardian too, who have few reds for kind of the same reason. You can rip their red because if they have like all blues, they're typically either like saving their whole hand to swing for 8, or they're or sorry, 3 cards to swing for 8, or they're just swinging their hammer. And in all of those cases, if you can just like look at their hand and be like, oh, you have a endless winter, I'm just going to make you discard that. It's really, really strong, especially if you're giving a dominate and they're kind of stuck with 2 cards in hand that they can't, use one to block, you rip one from their hand, and then they're left with like these 2 cards, and it's no real efficient way for them to do that. Yeah, they just swing hammer and they have like a card rod in hand, so it was worth a lot.
There's a specific weapon I want to talk about, but is there anything else before we move on to that one? Is there any other weapons you want to talk about, or can I move on to my favorite card of this set so far?
I guess since I'm seen as like a ranger player, I'll give a little bit more on Sandscour Great Bow.
Okay.
I think that this is pretty good. I want to play Azalea and see how strong it is. I think that it has like real merit. There are a couple other ways to put cards on top of your deck and manipulate that. Like you could play Seek Horizon, which is a red 4/0 that blocks for 2, and you can, if you put a card on the top of your deck, when you play it, it gets go again. So just like a nice, like Azalea kind of cares about the 4/0 go agains because she doesn't always able to use her whole hand. Yeah, I think there's like a couple ways you can do that. You could just get Silver the Tip, which looks at the top 4 cards, and you can reveal an arrow, and then you put it into your arsenal. So yeah, Silver the Tips will also enable Sandscour Great Bow, the aim counter. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, lots of ways to put aim counters. And we get to see Azalea probably a little bit more now. With some of these cards, hopefully we get like one more majestic arrow that like has in like as much of an impact as like Red and Ledger or something similar. So she gets like another powerful arrow too.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to talk about any of the other weapons yet, or before I move on to the rock?
I'll say a lot of the other weapons are kind of so-so. Like there's Merciless Battle Axe, Hanabi Blaster, a couple other ones, and they're just not that interesting. So yeah, why don't we just go onto Rock?
Okay, awesome. So, the rock is a brute weapon rock, and it's a 2-handed weapon, and it attacks for a 7. And it says once per turn action, 3 resources attack. But it says activate rock only if you have no cards in your hand. Damage that would be dealt by rock can't be prevented. Biggest note here is that you cannot just have one card in your hand, pitch for the rock, and attack. You cannot do that. You do need to have 0 cards in your hand when you activate the rock. So this does sound quite difficult to do. The main way would be to have 2 resources floating with a tunic, activating the tunic for your 3rd resource, and then attacking with the rock. Other ways would probably be energy potion to gain 2 resources after, like, basically play energy potion one turn, and then on the turn following, breaking the energy potion with 1 floating to attack with the rock. I'm pretty excited for this card. Like, just like being able to trade 3 resources for 7 damage is way above rate. If you can maximize your hand like just all the time, this card will like go over the top of your opponents. I don't even know how to explain it well, but like there are so many cards like instants you can play that essentially you can float resources and then play like something like a Red Sigil and Solace, gain 3 life, and then activate Tunic. You have no cards in your hand now. Attack with a rock. So obviously you can't actually play like current Reinhardt and just play the rock. That's just not going to work. But you need to basically build a very specific deck with like enough go again cards that utilizes the rock. And I'm like, so I haven't worked on any of the decks yet because if I'm gonna be working on Fab, it's gonna be for Worlds. The Rock can't be played at Worlds. Sad. Maybe it's a good thing that the Rock's not legal for Worlds.
That way you don't get baited to play it.
Correct. So like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I have this Emiria's Calling plus 6 Sigil of Solace Rock deck. Oh wow, that sounds so bad already.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there has to be a way to make this card good. And if you're a deck that just like consistently blocks for 12, basically set up the rock like every other couple turns, I think this card is gonna be insane. Like if you have a 1 cost go again, pitch a blue, activate Tunic. So like 1 cost go again, pitching a blue, attacking for 4 go again, and then attacking for the rock with the Tunic. That's like 11 for 2 cards plus Tunic. That is a good rate. Like 5 per card is good rate. And if you can consistently do that, like you're just gonna run over the game. Like Battle Mage, like the Icelander deck right now, is like barely getting to consistent 4 damage per card. If you can like get that to 5 damage per card, oh my god, this card's gonna be insane.
Yeah, I think it's quite good. I think also Energy Potion will be pretty real with this card because you can just play an Energy Potion and then at a later time Tunic, and then you're essentially trading your Energy Potion, which is 1 card, plus your Tunic counter to come in for 7, which is kind of like, it's like the equivalent of like Prism going Tunic, Miraging Metamorph or whatever, except that...
Does it have Phantasm?
Yeah, it doesn't have Phantasm. And technically it's like a turn delayed. Like you can't play the Energy Potion and Swing Rock unless you scab skins for it, I guess, but don't do that.
Oh, wait, you can scab skins for it?
I mean, you can.
Dude, you can just roll a 4 and go Energy Potion, Tunic Energy Potion, attack you with a rock for 7?
You could also just end your turn and then not be able to use the Tunic. Sorry, the Energy Potion. I guess you could Arsenal. That doesn't sound great, but it's true.
Oh, but like 5 and 6 times, you still just get to play Energy Potion and pass the turn.
Yeah.
You only lose your turn 1 in 6 times. That never happens, right? 1 in 6 never happens.
Happens enough.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna be so excited for this card, and it's just gonna be a meme. It's gonna be an unplayable meme. I'm excited. This is gonna be my pet deck for like 2 months after Dynasty comes out. Oh wait, you know what? There's a Pro Quest season coming up in January. Mm-hmm. I could get the rock ready for that.
Yeah, you could.
Oh, that sounds so tempting, but it sounds so bad. You know what? I take it back. I'm not gonna lock myself into this. I can see myself. I can see myself in a month from now being like, "Why did I say I'm gonna play rock at this Pro Quest?" And then I'm gonna hate my decision. If it happens, I'll talk about it on this pod. But we'll see.
I should just offer to give you some amount of money if you win with rock.
Oh no, Yuki. You can just be like, I'll give you $5 and I'll probably do it.
Yes, Jay is very motivated by EV and free value, so
yes, free EV. I can't say no. Like I know what like regular people would think like, but if you like neuter your chance to actually top the event, it's bad. But then what if you just make the best deck, right? Like, if I can make the best deck with the rock, then I'm like both getting the free $5 and improving my chances. Okay, I'm done talking about the rock.
I think the more that the deck is able to consistently turn it on, the better the card is. Like it borders on broken if you could do it every turn. Yeah, we'll see. Curious if they get more support.
I feel like this card can't get more support because if it does, it just breaks the game a little bit. You don't think so?
I mean, I think it can get a little bit more support, but not.
Yeah. You know what? All I want, Energy Potion. Energy Potion 2.0. I want an Energy Potion that has Go again that only generates 1 resource. That's all I ask. Is that too broken?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I think there's another way to get it in, isn't there?
There's a lot of ways to get the rock in. I think someone made a chart of like 14 different ways to like activate rock.
I respect that somebody made a chart for this. I feel like there's like an amulet. Oh, never mind. I was thinking of Amulet of Ignition, but it only reduces the cost of an activated ability by 1, which is not enough.
Wait, what? Yeah, it is enough. That plus energy potion?
Yeah, but then you're spending 2 cards to attack for 7, and you got to go
Okay,
through a
okay.
bunch of steps. Like then you're just like fine dolls.
Oh! This was my favorite. You crazy brew, roll a 5 or 6, and if you're crazy enough, you can also run 2 plus crazy. So you can just go instead of energy potion, rock. You can go crazy brew, get 2 resources, tunic rock.
That's true. Those are
Right.
things that you can do. Not personally what I want to be doing with my constructed deck in ProQuest season. I wouldn't put it past Jay to try it and then excitedly run over and tell us about his sick lines.
Oh wait, what does a think later card do again? Let's swing first, think later. Yeah. Swing first, think later is really sweet with this because you can go pitch a blue, swing first, think later, discard the other random card in your hand, and then tunic, attack for rock. Oh, that sounds so bad. Never mind. I'm sorry. This is not gonna make my deck. This card, specifically this card, will not make my deck.
Yeah,
Actually, this card's sweet, right? Because then if you like discard like a 6 card, like a 6 power card, you intimidate as well with Reinhardt.
that is the point. The deck has to want to block you for it to matter, but if they do, it's not bad. It's kind of funny if you have rock and you get a frostbite, you can activate tunic by pitching a blue and then swing rock.
Oh, how do I give myself frostbites?
I don't think there's a way since there's no ice brute, and yeah,
Imagine there's an ice brute that like starts giving yourself frostbites.
he should give both players frostbites. That would be so sick.
Oh, that would be so sick. Not gonna happen. Okay, let's move on. We're going a little long now, I think.
Yeah, I think we can end here.
Oh, let's talk about Iron Song Pride. It's a card that just came out. This is a November 1st spoiler. I am on the camp that this card is not that good. Iron Song Pride is a warrior instant aura that costs 1, and then it reads, put a +1 counter on target sword you control. When Iron Song Pride leaves the arena, remove all +1 counters from swords you control. And then at the beginning of your end phase, if a sword has not hit this turn, destroy Iron Song Pride. This card is going to be mainly good in Doranthia, which plays Dawnblade. And Dawnblade already reads that if this card didn't hit this turn, remove all +1 counters from it. Technically, the last 2 lines on Iron Song Pride doesn't really matter with Doranthia, and this card is probably a Doranthia card. Do you think this card is good in other warriors?
Probably not currently, but I do think it's quite good in Doranthia. So I think that the value of a counter is pretty good because a lot of Doranthia's game plan is about how to get the first counter, and then once you do, you can sometimes snowball it, and once you start snowballing, it's out of control. So like that's one of your main paths to victory. So I think being able to just put a counter on is really, really strong. You do have to hit for that turn, but I think the putting it up by +1 is in most cases probably good enough. Like they're gonna block in increments of 3 against Dory because usually everything pumps 3, and this is going 1 over is usually enough to do it. Yeah, I think it just like gets you to the point where you can snowball quicker, which I think is pretty good.
You know what I just realized? This card, if your opponent plays like a Runic Reclamation, is it called Runic Reclamation?
Yes,
Yeah, Runic Reclamation can pop this card.
that's true. I was thinking there was no aura destruction, but I guess there's exactly runic.
And Scour.
No, scour has to target 0 cost stuff.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, otherwise you would be able to scour Insidious Chill, and it would be something.
Oh, okay. So just Runic Reclamation right now.
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh man, if you're playing against Runeblade as a warrior and if they play, you have to side it out, right?
Yeah, I don't think you play this into Runeblade, but that's fine.
But yeah, I just don't like this card just because it doesn't block, and I think this card is good, but I feel like it's like a replacement level card with like all the other like 0 cost pump 3s or similar. I feel like it's not really giving much more than
But
that.
yeah, but zero cost pump 3 is premium. Like that's Iron Song response, and she only has one of those, and it's conditional. So like, if you rate it as on par of that, I think it is a significant bump to Dory's power level. Actually,
Yeah, I think so. I just really wish like this card gave like 2+1 counters.
I think 2+1/+1 counters would be pretty broken. I think already this card is quite good.
I want Dory to be good because I want to play Dory, but I just can't. I don't want to play a hero where I'm just like, oh, they blocked for 12 and my turn disappeared. Oh, can't do it. Can't do it. Okay, I think that's the last card I want to talk about. You just want to wrap it up then?
Yeah. So okay, so that's going to wrap it up for a spoiler discussion for now. There's going to be more card reveals and the rest of the set coming. Still a lot of stuff to look at. But we will be going to Worlds. I'm flying in on the Thursday. When are you flying in, Jay?
I'm pretty sure I land right before the banquet. So like I land and I like Uber straight to the venue and I eat food. That's my Thursday. That's I've already decided. I'm just land, Uber, get there, eat all the food.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not too different. I'm getting there around noon, so I'll have like a little bit of an afternoon there just to hang out. Yeah. Not super different. So, anyways, we're going to be playing Worlds this weekend. Should be exciting. Really curious to see how the meta show up and what the results are of that. I think it's the biggest event we've had in Fab so far, and it's definitely one to look forward to. And following the episode following that, we will be talking about our experience at Worlds and what that was like.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am going to be going to Vegas right after Worlds. The flight from San Jose to Las Vegas was like $19, and I couldn't say no to that. So we won't have a episode next Wednesday, but we will have a episode the Wednesday following that. So for you guys that wanted to listen to our like Worlds experience right away, unfortunately, I don't think we can get it out in time.
Yeah, good point. I forgot that you had told me that. So yeah, so we will be looking at Worlds, and that will be kind of 2 weeks from now. Yeah, from there will be more spoilers, I suppose, and the rest of the set, and we'll have the cards in our hand. So it'll be pretty exciting.
Yeah, new format, finally. It's been a long time since we had a new format.
Yeah, it has. And it's a pretty good format, which is nice. Definitely getting a little bit stale. Made a lot of sense that they said that originally Dynasty was slated for October, so that if we get like a new set before Worlds, makes a ton of sense. But obviously, supply chain issues and so on, not much you can do.
Okay, I think that wraps it up for tonight.
Don't remember the sign off, or not the sign off, but the closing thing. I should open it up. Google. Why don't you just use Worlds as our sign off? Like that discussion we just had.
Yeah, sure. We can just do that. We can. You don't need to sign off every time, right? It's fine. We can just end it here.
I think you can just put it on at the end. I don't know. Up to you.
We can move it
Where's
around.
the ending?
If you have a question you want answered on our show, comment on our most recent YouTube video with your questions, or follow Yuki's Twitter. It's episode 14.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you have a question you want answered on our show, comment on our most recent YouTube video with your questions, or follow my Twitter, which is @YukiLeeBender, and we might have a question from there. You can also follow Jay if you want at, is it Ueda J?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, at Ueda J. I was just looking at it earlier and I was like, Jay has Twitter.
Yeah. I made it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the things you learn. Anyways, if you do want to get your questions in, you can also send them into onthebauble@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you. Sorry, we might just put your question on the show. So sorry, I'm failing so hard.
It's okay. We'll use it. Don't worry. Honestly, I might just use it in this order. Like we talked about Worlds, use that as a sign off, and then use this as a sign off instead.
What the heck?
Okay. Let's just end it. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.